What is a Dystopia? By Ashley Munoz. So, hold on. Have you ever been so bothered by a rule or a regulation, maybe even a law? Many have wondered what it feels like to be on top of the world, not only figuratively, but politically. To make the world anew again based on your views and beliefs. But it has some cost to it. That is what is called a dystopia. So it basically means that it is a fiction where it opposes the very idea of the ideal and perfect society. Plenty of writers have actually wrote novels on this for the past centuries and have compared it to real life events and what it actually means for society to be in shambles, violence, poverty, and just a setting that is unrecognizable, full of ramifications and oppression. So now you may be asking yourself, what is a dystopian society? This dystopian actually reveals societies that are frightening and dehumanizing as a resulting consequence of the dangerous circumstances that could be involved when trying to create the ideal society. This is based on political and social structures that if we were to have the most power in the wrong hands, it would go down immediately. And these are two novels that I've put as examples: 1984 by George Orwell and Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. When you have a dystopia, there are some things that come to mind. What actually causes it? So we have one here, totalitarianism, where an overall government is highly controllable over its people. Then you have anti-human rights. It is robbing the citizens of basic freedoms and or individualism. No personal opinion or action isn't gone through the government without it being surveilled. And of course, advanced technology. This is an aid to the government that allows controlling and tracking of the citizens. Whoever has access to such technology will be bound to prey on all the victims that have no access to it. So first we'll be looking at in 1984 by George Orwell. This is actually using historical and political context from the mid-20th century. And it aims to portray a future where our voice is silenced, rewriting the history as we know it. It is the manipulation of truth from where it brings to light how authoritarianism can possibly take over, taking away all the individual freedoms of any person that comes to exist. Brave New World takes on an extreme hand. Unlike the other one where it takes its context from real life events, this goes beyond that and it starts talking about how advanced technology gets out of control and it starts having dehumanizing effects. It also questions the meaning of a perfect society, more like a utopia, and what the sacrifices are to ensure that everyone has a role to play. This includes biological manipulation and psychological conditioning. Now, there are some real-life events that have happened that have inspired these dystopian examples. The Spanish War would be one. World War II was happening around the time 1984 came out, which was around the 1950s. And then Hitler and the mass media, that's where it got its inspiration from. The main idea of 1984 is how surveillance is at a top peak. A television is watching you. So in terms of propaganda and intrusive telescreens that you are watching from your living room, it is a relevance of how it is related. And of course, atomic bombing. So you can see that a lot of wars have been going on when the dystopians have been written, and that's how they got the idea of the government could be as controllable as it can be and as it wants to be. But that brings the question, will our reality echo what a dystopia means?